Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Midwest Medium Podcast, Two Mediums in a Pod series. I'm June Hessler, and joined with me today is everyone's favorite chaplain and medium in California, Ciara Titus. Hi, Ciara.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just happy to be here.
You look a lot nicer than I do today. I like your shirt.
Thank you. I did brush my hair before I came on. That's about as much as I did. And I put on a good shirt.
I obviously did not get that memo. So, no. Actually, before we started recording, I was explaining to Ciara that I'm a little bit like a chicken running around with my head cut off today. So I can talk about that more later. So that's why I look like this.
You
So
still look
anyway,
beautiful and wonderful.
thank you. What events do you have coming up? Well, first of all, I want to tell you, I'm in Minnesota. We're recording this on March 21st, and it's going to be in the 70s today. It's beautiful. I know for you that's like not a big deal, but it's a big deal here. We're excited.
I know it doesn't even feel like spring, really. I feel like we've gone right into summer because it's been in the 90s. It was like 101 on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You might have a really hot summer ahead of you.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh my gosh, if this is March, like what's July and August gonna be like? We're gonna melt.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Okay, what events do you have coming up for April and beyond?
Um, April. Actually, the only thing I have going on in April is I will be at the Heart Space Fair, which is in the Laguna Woods. It's at the end of every month. And then in May, that Mindfulness Expo in Anaheim, and that will be on May 9th, Saturday.
Okay, good. The only thing I have going on in April is Holly and I are doing another massage and mediumship. It's, I believe, Saturday, April 11th. Details are at junehustler.com. It's in Coon Rapids, live event. And then we take the summer off. So it's our last massage and mediumship until I think September.
Oh, okay.
So,
So people got
yeah,
a book before the break.
it's really fun. Holly texted me yesterday. I think we have two spots left. So email Holly if you want to get signed up. Okay, so today, Ciara and I thought that we would reflect on our recent conversation with Oracle Maureen. So we'll talk about that. And then, Ciara, we have a little announcement. Do you want to share it or do you want me to share it?
Why don't you share it and I'll add and fill in.
Okay. Our little announcement is the podcast is going on another break. So it doesn't mean that we won't come back. It doesn't, it Ciara and I really, I think, have learned to surrender to our guides and angels and what we're guided to. And when things come into our lives, I feel, I don't want to speak for you, Ciara, but I feel when opportunities come into my life, I do my best to say yes to these really cool, unique, fun, rewarding opportunities, which is what happened with Two Mediums in a Pod. I was all of a sudden, I don't remember if we've shared this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I was suddenly getting downloaded with information about bringing back the podcast a few months ago and that Ciara would be a part of it. So when I reached out to you, you were like, "Yep, I know. I've been getting visions." So that really is how Two Mediums in a Pod was born. We knew it would be a limited series. I feel it'll come back around at some point. We don't know when. We don't know if it will be another series under the umbrella of the Midwest Medium podcast. Maybe it'll be an entire separate entity that we create. We don't know yet, but um I have so many irons in the fire right now on my end, and it's all really good, positive things that I'm having to put my effort into this podcast on hold until I'm guided back to it. And I do feel that'll happen because anyway, I don't want to keep like repeating myself, but I do feel it'll happen. We'll find out when we find out when. And I feel that Ciara will be a part of it. So anyway, um, that's what's happening. This will be our last. episode until TBD. I don't know. So we really wanted to reflect on not just our recent conversation with Oracle Marine, but also Two Mediums in a Pod series as a whole. Um, so yeah, that's what's happening. That's the announcement.
I think you were very eloquent about it.
Oh,
It's like bittersweet. Although we always knew that it was going to end. I think when we first approached it, we always had talked about it being a limited series, and I I totally agree with you, and always like listening to the guidance. And when life has its like changes and ups and downs and turns, and the best way possible, you got to just go with it. And sometimes you do need to put things on the back burner.
yeah. So that's what's happening. What I will share on my end is my daughter's graduating high school, getting ready for college. My husband and I are meeting with our realtor team today to put our house on the market and move. Um, I work full time. I have my spiritual work. Um, I'm sure I'm forgetting like three things. I don't know. Things Life is just very busy right now. So I really do appreciate your flexibility. And Ciara was so gracious. I told her, I think maybe 2 weeks ago that I'd have to step away for a little bit. And she was so kind and gracious and understanding. And so I was nervous to tell you because I was like, oh shoot, I don't want her to feel like I'm going to abandon ship. Uh, but I know you're very busy too. You have a full-time job, you have your daughter that you take care of, you have your spiritual work, and whatever else you have going on. We're busy people.
Yeah, somebody asked me, they're like, how do you keep track of all the dates? I was like, oh, if you looked at my Google Calendar, it's a rainbow. Like everything's in there. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, sometimes it's just nice to take a breather, to be able
Yeah,
to, yeah.
and with summer coming up, anyway, life's just really busy.
Yeah, and like putting something like this together, even it is a lot of vaccine work that we don't get to see, right? Like just and the mental kind of energy it takes, like it takes a part of your brain.
It does, and podcasting is a beast. I learned early on when I first started the podcast. That's one reason why I don't edit is because I just don't have the time or the interest to learn how to edit. So I tell my guests, and I told you in the beginning, whatever we record is what's going up. So mind your P's and Q's. Don't say something you don't want in the world. Um, but it's a lot of work. Producing a podcast is a lot of work, and um, we don't get paid to do this. We don't monetize the podcast. Maybe we should. I don't know. I've never felt guided to do that. I've always felt guided to offer the podcast for free so we don't have ads. Um, in return, we just ask that if you enjoy the podcast, to share it with your friends and family. Um, Rate and review the podcast. It helps other people find us. So, yeah,
Yeah, I don't think
podcasting. It's Go
I
ahead.
was going to say I don't think the story has ended. Like it was just on a pause.
It's a pause. Yeah, it's an indefinite hiatus.
And I know I for sure appreciate you putting the effort into even getting the podcast up and reaching out to do it again. And I know the listeners, I have a few students and friends that have been listening and they're really appreciative of it.
I've gotten really positive feedback on our Two Mediums in a Pod series. So I'm so glad that you said yes and that we've done what we could to bring forth information and share what we've learned. Um, it's been really meaningful to me and it's been fun and we've gotten to know each other better. And hopefully one day we can meet in person. And I've had visions of me going to California. So I think that will be happening. I don't think it's happening this year, but maybe next year, 2027. Um, so anyway, it's been really rewarding in many different ways, many different aspects.
You know, I have enjoyed it even more than I thought I would. And
Yeah.
it has been super cool to just get to know you even more and to really delve into a topic that like we both love and to find like a kindred spirit that is also a student of Oracle Marines working in the same field. It's just been like a blessing, really.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's so rare. It is fun for me to have someone to talk to about these things, um, and things that we've talked about outside of the podcast has been beneficial in my life, uh, because there's not many people I can talk about this stuff to, and so it's been really great. All right, well, should we dive into our conversation with Oracle Maureen?
Oh yeah, that was, what's the craziest thing? As soon as that podcast started, we were talking about spiritual warfare. All sorts of things were happening in the background in my house. Like I what I mean is like all of a sudden it was like 6 o'clock my time. That's when we started, you guys. I hear my gardener outside. Rocks are hitting my window. The doorbell's ringing. My daughter's texting, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, they're trying to distract me while this is happening. Because the way spiritual warfare works is like negative entities will use any kind of energy or have situations happen that can be a distraction.
And pull you away from the good work that you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is on like Donkey Kong. I was I had to mute myself and stay focused. And I thought, oh wow. It I mean, most people would be like, well, that's just a coincidence. But I think I always understand that there's a bigger spiritual, deeper meaning to why things are happening. And so that was just the background of what was going on. So if it's noisy, guys, I'm sorry. That's why.
And well, and you have a busy household. Yes, that I didn't. Well, you hit it very well because I had no idea that was happening while we were on with Oracle Marine. So good job.
Perfect.
I had
Perfect.
no idea. I had no idea. So anyone listening to us right now and presuming that they've also listened to the spiritual warfare conversation that we recently had with her, it was a heavy topic. It was an advanced topic to talk about at an advanced level, which makes sense because Oracle Marine is Chief Principal Oracle for the Ascended Masters in God, meaning she is extremely advanced in the information that she receives and the information that she will deliver on behalf of the five of them. Um, it's for Ciara and I wouldn't call it new information because we've heard a lot of this in class already. So we kind of had an idea of what to expect and how the conversation would go and what information would come through. But I understand that for people listening, it might have been like a whiplash moment where you're like, what's this woman talking about? I mean, one, some people are going to listen and think she's completely insane and not believe anything that she's saying, which I feel is very unfortunate. My hope is that people will take away from the conversation, that it was an opportunity to learn about spiritual warfare, the truth behind spiritual warfare, understand that it is this battle between God and Satan, and that we're basically, for lack of a better word, pawns in that war that is happening, that's been happening since the beginning of time, essentially, ever since Lucifer fell from heaven and other angels followed. Um, I really hope, Ciara, that people took away from that conversation the intent behind it, which was to educate, inform, enlighten, not to scare people. It was not to scare people. We don't want to scare people. We don't want, I know Oracle Marine doesn't want to scare people. It's not that. It's hopefully to help bring your awareness to a higher level, help you see things in a slightly different perspective, and encourage people, I think, too, to speak out against what's happening in the world today, not just believe anything our government says and take it at face value and support this war with Iran. No, it's deeper than that. Uh, there's just so much to it. So I hope people didn't get scared or feel that there was like any kind of malice intent or um anything like that. It truly came from a good place, came from love, even though messages, I tell people when I do my spiritual work, everything comes from love, even the messages that might be difficult to receive, it's from love. And that's how I guess I would summarize our conversation with Oracle Maureen. What do you think?
I know it was probably hard for some people to listen to
Yeah.
because it's mind-boggling. I feel like what you said resonated with me is that we've heard the stuff before and we've been, her students for such a long time. It's been a buildup of this information. I think for some people, it'll be the first time that they've ever really been confronted with the idea that there is a battle between good and evil. And I know sometimes it's even hard for me to digest because I'm like, oh man, like the world and our challenges are even like it's even a harder level of this like fight of good and evil. And it really is about our choices that we make and constantly keeping our light bright and doing what's pleasing to God. And people don't necessarily want to know that or even be aware of it. And so I know some people will probably just have a hard time listening to it and absorbing it. But you're
And
right.
that's okay.
I think that's okay. But it's the truth. And it is for our highest good. And you're right, it is out of love.
And I would encourage people too who listen to it and did have maybe a hard time absorbing that information, maybe go back and listen to it again in a month. And that's just my recommendation. And of course, other conversations that we've had with her on the podcast. This was her third visit. Um, though her Oracle Maureen is jam packed with information and at truly the highest level. And so, one thing I was reminding myself this morning that I wanted to make sure to mention because I didn't mention it before when we were talking about the Ascended Masters and that Oracle Maureen is who she says she is because we've seen it. What I had forgotten in that moment to tell people is you can go to my website. There's a section where I share all of the visions I've had that validate who Oracle Maureen is and that she is who she says she is, which is the reincarnate of Saint Mary of Bethany. It's on my website. I forget exactly like what heading, but look for validating Oracle Maureen. You will find it. You can read it. So that's what I mean when I say we've seen for ourselves that she is who she says that she is because we've had divine intervention in receiving those validations. And so I was asked by heaven, I don't know, maybe a year ago, to to share all of those validations, which I've done on my website. So it's not like we just found her at a bus stop and said, hey, do you want to come on our podcast and talk about some stuff? No, it's not that. It's
Yeah,
very,
we're witnesses. I, along with June, have been asked by the Ascended Masters to start posting my visions of my connection with her to validate that she is who she is and has experienced the things that she's experienced because of who she is.
yeah, and we are very lucky to be in her classroom. I know she has talked about how her classroom is closed. No new students can come in right now until the Ascended Masters have her start a new class and maybe allow other people to come in because we've been devoted students of hers and of the Ascended Masters for years. Everyone in our class has been for years. Um, so that is why in class we are allowed certain levels of information. And I'm so glad that she agreed to come on to the podcast and talk about the spiritual warfare that's happening. I really cannot wait for her book to come out. I hope it comes out really soon, um, where she goes even further in depth. And she did mention maybe coming back on doing like a part two. So I'm hoping, whenever the podcast circles back around for us, that we can do that. She's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out on what she says because it really is for your best benefit. It is really to prepare you for eternity, really, for eternity. And so to miss out it would be unfortunate.
Very much. Yes, very much.
And I like the fact that you did mention that our class, like we've been with her for such a long time, which is why we're able to receive such advanced messages. Because you guys, our class is small. It's maybe around 6 people. It
I think
started
there's six
out
of us.
it started out much bigger. In her advanced
Yeah.
development class, there was like 30 people. And I mean, this was years ago, but every level that it's gone, because not everybody can accept information, it's like dwindled down.
Yeah, and it's been the six of us for I think at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I joined, gosh, I can't believe it's been 4 years ago already. So I joined her classes 4 years ago with the beginner psychic development class. And that class itself, I think, had maybe six or seven of us. And then we advanced into intermediate psychic development. And I think that was still like five, six, maybe seven of us. And then it had in advanced class, which we're in now, I think there was when I went into it, I think there was like maybe nine of us, maybe 10. And now it's just been the six of us for a while. So it's a I love the class, even though sometimes it's like information I don't want.
Yeah.
Like things I don't want to know, but I understand it's very important.
Yeah, I've told June many times before class starts, I get a little nervous because I'm like, what bomb is going to drop? Because she's really the one who taught me about the afterlife. And then as when I started learning more and more about the afterlife, then I had my own experiences and then I started working in the with the dying. But she was the prep work before that. And I remember just always feeling like bombs were dropping because I'm like, oh my gosh, really, purgatory does exist. And then I'd have my own visions of it. And I'd be like, oh man, this crap's for real.
Yeah, what's really cool is for me, it started, well, I've shared my journey, my mediumship journey and how it all goes back to when I was like age 4. But when I started taking classes taught by Oracle Maureen, she would teach a subject and then like that week I'd have visions on it and I'd have the validation. And then she'd teach a different subject and then I would get the validations on it. I still remember the very first class of beginner psychic development. I went into it just wanting to learn how to communicate with my guides and angels. I did not, mediumship was not on my radar. It to me it was like almost laughable that I could maybe do that because I didn't think I could do that, even though I've had my own spiritual visions and experiences my entire life. I just was like so in denial about it, I guess. So, anyway, that very first night of beginner psychic development class, she was teaching us about the Ascended Masters. And that night I went to bed and I had a vision that felt like it went on for hours. It might have only been a minute or two, but it made such an impression on me. It felt like it went on for a lot much longer. And it was Kuan Yin's face right here, just her face right here for a very long time. And I woke up and I was like, Kuan Yin's real. She
Yeah.
exists. That was night one of class. So that was really cool. And but yes, to your point, when we've taken classes, we've gotten our own visions on topics that she's taught. Um, it's cool. It I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I think for anybody listening to, like, that's why it's really important to take psychic development classes because it really does open your perspective and it makes you realize, like, wow, I've been having visions and experiences even before. And if you guys, if she ever, if Oracle Marine ever teaches again, I would highly recommend taking the class. It's definitely a whole nother level.
Absolutely. Follow her social media, check out her website, take any class that she offers. If she's in your area and she's offering like live in-person events, go to them. Um, I haven't seen her in person since 2018.
Oh,
right
wow.
after my son died. So I haven't seen her for going on 8 years in person.
Yeah, because she moved here in California like 2019, 20. It was like, when did I, no, when did I first take her?
It was
I think,
earlier. I think she's been there for like 10, 15 years now.
yeah, because I, I think I saw her first in 2018 or 2019.
Oh, okay. So she
Yeah,
moved out there, I want to say 2013, but she would come to Minnesota
yeah,
periodically and do events or and offer readings. So I would make sure to go see her, in person when
yeah.
she was in town. From what I remember being in her presence, like in the same room, her energy is different. Her vibe is different than I'll say like the average person. Like you're in a room with her, something's different about her. I I can't, I don't know how else to explain it, but there's just like a shift of energy.
Yeah, she's got a presence. You can just feel
She
it.
absolutely has a presence about her. Yeah. And I'm saying that from someone before I even took a class with her, just as a mediumship client, I could tell. So, that was before I knew about Mary of Bethany and Chief Principal Oracle, and before I knew so many things that she has revealed since. So it really does make sense, remembering back all those years ago.
Yeah, where you're kind of like, huh, this is different. This is different.
Yeah,
But you can't
something's
really put a
different
finger
about
on
her.
it. Yeah, yeah. It's like now it makes sense when I look back and I go, oh, okay. I think I
Yeah.
mentioned before, as soon as I met her, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be with you forever now.
Yeah. In a non-stalkery way.
Yeah, exactly.
So moving on, well, I should ask you, is there anything else you want to mention regarding that spiritual warfare topic?
No, I think we covered it. There's definitely more to be revealed and talked about. So buckle up, everybody, for the next for the next mm, download of information you get someday in the future.
And I feel too that people are starting to catch on. Like I'll see things and comments people make on social media, whether it's like a comment from some kind of lawmaker or just reading comments in certain posts. I think people are starting to catch on that what's happening in the world now is really bigger than any of us, and that Satan really does have his, I guess I'll call them workers. So I'm gonna say it, Donald Trump. Don't come after me. The truth is the truth. But
Yeah.
he's highly possessed. And so I think people are starting to catch on. And I think part of it too is what messages from Oracle Maureen are, and people like her that share the similar messages. It makes sense. So if it didn't make sense, then obviously I'd be like, yo, it doesn't make sense. Like, why are you entertaining this person's ideas? This is crazy talk. But Oracle Marine is the opposite of that. It makes sense. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, it does. It's like really a refined level of wisdom that comes out. And if you read her post and you see the political climate and you see the way Trump is behaving, it will start making sense on like this fight between good and evil and like the fact that Satan can infiltrate people. And that has been a fight that's been since the beginning of time. And people used to be more aware of it, I think, because we've stepped away so much from spirituality and depend so much on technology to make our decisions that people become blind and really rationalize too much of people's behavior. Like, oh, it's just mental illness. Well, mental illness is a part of it, but it's so much deeper than that. Like, you're really just being infiltrated because you're being manipulated.
Yes, and I will share. So we recorded our episode with Oracle Marine this past Monday, which was then published on Monday the 23rd. Ever since we recorded, so in reality time, not in podcast time, in reality time, it's Saturday, we recorded this past Monday. I've been harassed at night when I've been trying to sleep. And I did email her. I did tell her that, just FYI, this is happening. And I knew like the closer I get to her, I know it makes me a bigger target for the demons, negative entities, negative ghosts, whatever you want to call it, or whatever it is. And I accepted that a long time ago. And I work on my protection, and there's things I can do to combat it. Um, and those things work. And last night I got a wonderful night's sleep. But it was just interesting to know that I had two or three, I think it was two this past week, attacks while trying to sleep. And when I say attacks, it was to the level of my bed moving.
Mm.
I'm the only one in bed. My husband's not in bed. I'm trying to sleep. My bed's moving. Someone's pounding on my mattress. My back is turned and I can feel someone brushing up against my back. It's not the cat. Cat's not in the room. It's not the fan. The fan's off. It's literally just me and whoever is trying to harass me and get my attention and bug me, annoy me. So that's been happening. Um, so yeah, the closer we get to her, the bigger targets we become.
Yeah, well, I fortunately have not had that experience since the podcast, but a couple months ago, I did feel a negative entity actually trying to suck breath out of me.
Oh my gosh, was this while
Yeah.
you were trying to sleep, or was this?
Well, yeah, it was actually right before I was falling asleep. And I remember feeling a presence, and all of a sudden, I just felt my breath being pulled away. And I knew what was happening because of all our training that we've gone through. And I was like, oh my God, this is a demon trying to suck my soul out. And I remember just calling Jesus right away, just being like, no, Jesus, come forward. And then all of a sudden, it was like this bubble of light surrounded me. And then I felt the demon no longer in my presence. But it was scary. I was actually, I forgot to mention to you. I think because I blocked it out. Like it was pretty scary. Like my heart was beating really fast. I mean, you guys, when you have those experiences, like don't invalidate it. Like where there really is like negative entities and demons trying to create chaos, really. And when you deny it, it almost gives them more power. So, right, because
It
then
it does,
it
because
does.
you're denying it and not doing anything about it, which I get because we
Exactly.
just kind of want to shut down, we want to ignore it. If I ignore it, it'll go away. No, if you ignore it, it's gonna get stronger and stronger. Like I knew the shifting of my bed and the pounding on my bed, I knew would escalate because I've had it escalate in the past where the psychic attacks get stronger and stronger. And then it's like my body, physically, my body is being attacked. So I knew, like, okay, I need to tell Oracle Maureen about it. Maybe if she's allowed and wants to and feels inspired, maybe she'll pray on my behalf. I need to work with God and Jesus and Archangel Michael on my protection. So I've been doing those things. And fortunately, it's worked well. And oh, I slept so good last night. But you cannot ignore it. It'll get worse.
It will get worse, which is why we're really pushing you guys to do the protection. When I teach my classes, I'm always pushing protection, especially now because things are so yucky. I've been making them pray even more, ask Archangel Michael, ask Jesus to create those bubbles of holy light around them because it is on. The fight's on.
Oh, it is totally on. Yeah, absolutely. And the closer a person grows to God and Jesus, the brighter your light gets and the bigger the target you are.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I was just listening to a podcast yesterday where a man was it was called, oh, I forget the name of the podcast episode, but it's a Dave Schrader podcast episode, and it was called Unholy something. I can't remember. But he had a guest on, and the guest was newly Catholic. And, he had converted as an adult in his early 20s. And he was explaining after his conversion, all of these really strange things were happening in his home. And
Oh,
he was married and he had two small girls. And if you're interested in anything I just said in the last 15 seconds, go check it out. Um, and I'm just thinking the whole time because I know what I've learned and what I've experienced, he's a target. He's newly Catholic. The Catholic faith is under such attack by Satan and his demons. Why? Because he wants to hurt God. How does he hurt God? By hurting us.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
And they'll attack our children. 'Cause, like with my daughter, I'm always putting religious jewelry on her, and the jewelry always breaks because
Oh, really?
yeah, it's funny. I've had to buy like three protection bracelets for her, and she stopped wearing them, so I actually got them on her metal, but her necklaces always break. Her any kind of religious jewelry breaks on her, and I think, oh my God, I just tell her I just buy her another one. I don't necessarily explain how deep it is. I just always say, hey, listen, you need to wear this for protection.
Yeah, she'll understand when she's a little older.
Yeah, and she understands like to do it. Like she always like actually another bra necklace broke yesterday, a cross and a Mother Mary medallion. And I was like, okay, I'll just buy another one.
How old is she? She's 12,
She just turned 13.
13. Okay, so it's not like she's 5 and like you're not putting jewelry on a 5-year-old and that can
No.
easily break. Like she's 13 and she's like responsible enough to handle jewelry. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad that she wears it because I haven't, she's a little bit too young to go into the fight to describe the fight between
Right.
God and Satan, but she just knows it's really important because I've tried to really reiterate that.
Oh, and I think that's great that you're teaching her that. That's her formative years. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I try. I think only like 5% of what I say absorbs.
I will tell you, don't give up because I started my spiritual awakening in 2022. So my daughter was like 12. So okay, so the same age as your daughter, 12, 13. And I very much teach my daughter what I've learned, what I've experienced. She doesn't know all of the experiences that I've had, but she knows a lot of them. And I've taught her about God and Jesus and the Catholic faith. She witnessed my going through the OCIA program. She was there for my baptism and my confirmation. Like she's very much a part of my spiritual journey. And I will tell she's getting more than 5%. It's in there. When my daughter, when she went to Ireland all by herself, she went to St. Patrick's Cathedral and she's just taking
Mm.
in the beauty that is surrounding her. And she had commented on how much she loves her faith.
Oh,
And so it's penetrating, I promise you. It might not seem like it now, but she's she's soaking it all up and you will see the fruits of your labor. You'll get glimpses of her like starting to really put it all together and really and some of it too putting it into practice for herself. So keep doing it. Don't give up on it.
yeah, thank you for that inspiring word. I'll see snippets of it. Like she does call me for permission to do things.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is it's Lent, you guys. So on Fridays we haven't been eating red meat. And she called me and she'll ask permission on like what to eat. And I think, oh, at least she still is like keeps it in her mind that it's important. And we do go to confession together. So I know those little things, even though she doesn't want to, I drag her.
Hmm.
Um, but I know it is important to her because I also turn to her in church when she's praying, and I'm like, oh, she's really praying.
Yeah, it's you're teaching her well and it's making a difference even on days when she's being like a normal 13-year-old. I've been there too. Like my daughter today, this morning, I said, "Can you please not snip at me? Can you not like be rude to me?" And she's like, "Oh, sorry." Like they're teenagers.
Exactly.
They're humans,
They're going to push boundaries, push our buttons. And you know what,
but
since we're kind of
it's
on
in
this
there.
topic, I had mentioned my past life with Jesus many times on this podcast, and my daughter now was my daughter back then. And I know of some of the trauma she's experienced, and I could see it in phobias she has in this life.
Oh, interesting.
It's really interesting. And I feel like if I didn't have that insight, I kind of wouldn't understand like why she's really paranoid to be in groups by herself, why certain things like really trigger a panic attack in her. And I know she's also hormonal, but it's like I've just seen another level of this kind of like trauma that has been coming up from that.
That's really rare that you have that insight and clarity. Good for
Yeah.
you for recognizing that.
Because just the other day, well, I'll just give you guys a background. So, then you could learn about this on my website and listen to my past life regression. So, I was killed as a martyr because of my beliefs. And my daughter back then, who is the daughter now, she had to watch me and she was beheaded because of it. But I also know that they pulled her away, they separated us, and that she was left alone in that life. So she has such paranoia about being left alone. And she does not like being in large groups when she's by herself. And I know it was because she was ridiculed as a
She has
believer.
such a negative, impactful experience.
Yeah. And I'm seeing it in like kind of come forth in this life. And I don't know how to explain it to her yet. She's not at that level, but I can't believe that it's like manifesting now. Hopefully this makes sense, but I've been getting the insight on like why she's behaving the way she's behaving from my guides, and that it's much deeper trauma because we do carry that trauma, right? Like I was beheaded, not beheaded, I was hung, and I actually don't like any scarves or anything tight around my neck for years, and
Yeah.
I never understood why. I would always like pull it off and break it off.
So it allows you, I would guess, to have more grace and more patience with her when she's having those moments of struggling.
Yeah, because before I didn't. Truthfully, I'd get really annoyed when I'd see her kind of panic and have this anxiety. I'd be like, what is wrong with you? We're just going
Yeah.
to the store. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if there's people there. Like, I just was insensitive about it because, you get annoyed. You just want to get your things done. And when you don't have a deeper level of understanding, it does make you kind of like get really dismissive about somebody's emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm trying to think what else we should talk about to wrap up the podcast. I feel that all of the episodes that we've created together I'm hoping, have been impactful for people listening, even if it's just picking out a nugget or two from each episode. That's like the goal. Um, I've really enjoyed creating this series with you. I'm so glad you said yes. It's so much more fun to talk to someone than to just talk to myself. So I appreciate it on that level also. Uh, I think it's been a really fun, great series. I know that we've put a lot of hard work and time into creating each episode in terms of like what topics to talk about, how far in depth do we go on these topics? How do we explain things in a way that will make sense to people, but not in a way where we come off as like we're talking down to people? Because we're not that either. Um, it's been a fun ride.
I would agree. It's been a fun ride. And I kind of think about like, wow, we've gotten pretty personal with our listeners as well, like to talk about our lives and what we experienced. That can put you in a very vulnerable state. And sometimes I feel that way. Like sometimes I'll listen back to our episodes and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I mentioned it. It was appropriate at the time, and it's not inappropriate by any means, but to share who we are in our lives, like we do really expose ourselves. And so I really appreciate like the support that I've been getting from listeners about that.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see what heaven has in store for us down the line if we bring the podcast back. I think that we will. Um, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I trust in God, right? So
Blind faith.
exactly, blind faith, blind trust. So those of you who are listening, don't get sad. There's always more, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, we'll
Because
find out. To be
yeah,
determined.
to be determined, exactly.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Two Mediums in a Pod series. It has been our pleasure to bring this series to you. Please share our podcast if you feel inclined. Please rate and review. It helps people find us. If you are listening and you want to watch instead, you can go over to YouTube. You can watch all of our episodes, including the one with spiritual teacher Oracle Maureen. Um, I'm so glad that she said yes to coming on. And Ciara, thank you so much for being part of this series. You are half of Two Mediums in a Pod. And I think that's just a fun name. I'm glad you agreed to it. Two Mediums in a Pod. I think that's just so cute. So, all right, everyone. Well, we're going to sign off. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't think I am, but I feel like I am. Oh, I am. Okay, to learn more about Ciara, go to ciaratitus.com. I'll make sure that it's in the show notes. To learn about me, go to junehessler.com. Those are our websites. It's where we keep things updated. You want to know about our upcoming events or what we're working on, go to our websites. We also have Instagram and Facebook. The podcast has its own Facebook and Instagram. So check us out, stay connected, and until next time.
Yeah, until next time, everybody.
All right, everyone. I am June Hessler for Ciara Titus. This is Two Mediums in a Pod. Thank you so much for being part of this experience and joining us every week. Bye, guys.
Bye.